Hello, my name is Chandler Branch, and today I'll be representing Case Study 2. Case Study 2 focuses on identifying behavioral targets and describing an intervention used for one of those behaviors. This case study is based on my field experience with a client who is 3 years old, diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Throughout this presentation, I will be discussing two key behavioral targets for this client, with an emphasis on aggression. I will also provide an in depth explanation of the intervention I selected, why it was functionally relevant to the behavior of concern, and whether it was evidence based according to the standards outlined in the BCBA 6th edition task list. Let's go ahead and get started reviewing the behavioral targets. In this case, I identified two significant behavioral targets: elopement and aggression. Elopement is defined as the client leaving a designated area, such as her classroom or home, without permission or supervision. This behavior occurs in various contexts, both when the client is upset and when she's calm or happy, which made it crucial to address for her safety and well being. The second behavioral target and the focus of this presentation is aggression. Aggression is the context refers to behaviors such as crying, flinging her body, and removing her clothes during tantrums. Excuse me. These aggressive episodes are typically triggered when the client is told no or when presented items when a preferred item is taken away. This behavior poses challenges for the caregivers and the teachers, and this disrupts the client's daily routine as it often leads to extended periods of distress. I selected aggression as the main focus because it directly impacts her ability to engage in daily activities and social interactions, which makes it a priority behavior for intervention. The specific definition of aggression for this client is important for accurate measurement and intervention planning. Aggression in this case includes behaviors like crying, flinging her body onto the floor, and removing her clothes when she's upset. These behaviors are typically observed during tantrums, especially when the client is denied access to preferred items or activities. For example, when she is told she cannot have a toy or a snack, she responds by escalating her behavior, which often results in her caregivers giving her attention or the item she is deserved. What's critical about this is these behaviors not only interrupt her daily activities, but they also create a pattern of reinforcement where the client learns that by engaging in aggression, she sometimes gets what she wants. This reinforces the need for an intervention that addresses the function of her aggression while providing her with an alternative way to communicate her needs. So the intervention I implemented to address this behavior was the differential reinforcement of alternative behavior, which is the DRA. DRA is an evidence-based intervention strategy where appropriate alternative behaviors are reinforced while the target problem behavior is put on extension, excuse me, or receives minimal attention. In this case, I reinforce the client for using appropriate communication strategies, such as requesting the items or attention, instead of engaging in aggressive behaviors. For this client, I use a combination of sign language and a picture exchange communication system, also known as PECS, to teach her how to request items or help in a socially acceptable way. For example, when the client wanted a preferred item but was denied, I prompted her to use a picture card or sign her request. Each time she used the appropriate communication method, I provided immediate reinforcement by giving her access to the item or providing attention. Over time, this helped to reduce her reliance on aggression to get her needs met. This intervention was functionally relevant because the primary function of the aggressive behavior was to gain access to tangibles or attention. By teaching the client to ask for what she wanted in a more appropriate manner, I was able to reduce the frequency of aggression while still allowing her to have her needs met in a constructive way. So now let's look at the functional relevance of this intervention. The client's aggression was maintained by two main functions: access to tangibles and attention. When she was denied a preferred item, the aggressive behavior escalated as a way to regain access. Similarly, her tantrums often resulted in increased attention from caregivers or teachers, which unintentionally reinforced the problem behavior. By implementing DRA, I addressed the root cause of her aggression, her need to access these items and for attention. The intervention was functionally relevant because it provided her with an appropriate, socially acceptable way to meet those needs, thereby reducing the problem behavior. For instance, when the client was prompted to use PECS or verbal requests, and those requests were reinforced with the item or attention she sought, the aggressive behavior decreased over time. This actually demonstrates how identifying the function of a behavior can lead to interventions that are both effective and individualized to the client's needs. It's important to ensure that interventions used in clinical practice are evidence based, especially when working with clients with complex needs like autism spectrum disorder. Differential reinforcement of alternative behavior, or DRA, is supported by substantial research as an effective intervention for behaviors maintained by both attention and access to tangibles. Numerous studies have shown that DRA can successfully reduce problem behaviors by teaching clients functional communication responses that serve the same purpose as the problem behavior, but in a more appropriate way. In this case, DRA aligned perfectly with the function of the client's aggressive behavior. By focusing on teaching alternative communication skills, I was able to reduce the occurrence of tantrums and aggressive outbursts. This intervention not only aligns with the client's needs, but also meets the BCBA's standards for evidence based practice, ensuring that the approach I use is grounded in research and proven methodologies. So, in conclusion, the primary behavioral target for this case was aggression, which manifested through tantrums that included crying, flinging her body, and removing clothes. I used differential reinforcement of alternative behavior, also known as DRA, as the intervention, focusing on reinforcing the client's use of appropriate communication strategies instead of aggression. This intervention was functionally relevant because it directly addressed the functions of the aggressive behavior, her need for access to tangible and attention. It was also an evidence-based practice, supported by research and aligned with BCBA TASLIC standards. As I continue to monitor the client's progress, I will make any necessary adjustments to the intervention based on ongoing data collection. The results of these adjustments in the client's behavior will be discussed in the final case study, where I will provide a comprehensive overview of the long term outcomes of this intervention. Thank you.